When I was a teenager, I was goth. Black hair, black clothes, black makeup, even had a pair of combat boots. My friends and I, in typical goth fashion, hung out at the local cemetery. We started going as a joke, but soon discovered we liked the peace we found there. That all changed one night. My friend called to see if I wanted to hang out, and I did. None of our other friends were available. They were either working or recovering from partying the night before, so we were on our own. My friend picked me up, and we drove up to the cemetery. We were hanging out, smoking cigs, and BSing about the latest issue she was having with her boyfriend when we noticed at the top of the hill we were on, about 100 feet away, a bonfire had been lit. You have to understand that this cemetery is about a block off campus of a major university, and it's not uncommon for college students to go there to party. My friend and I sighed, knowing that we would have to get going soon. It was illegal to be in the cemetery after dark, and we knew the police would show up because some jerks had decided they needed a bonfire. We decided to push our cigs and then take off. Just then, the most horrible stench came wafting down the hill from the direction of the bonfire. My friend gagged and covered her mouth. I groaned and said, "What the hell?" My friend shook her head, saying, "I don't know what they're doing, let's just leave." We get in the car and one of us suggested, I honestly don't remember who, maybe we should just go up and see what they're doing. My stomach turned and a cold shiver went through my body. My friend must have had the same feeling, because at the same time we both said, "No, we should leave." My friend turned the car on, switched on her headlights, put the car in reverse, and looked over her shoulder before starting it back up. I was still looking up the hill. A figure stepped in front of the bonfire. I could only see a silhouette, but I was sure whoever it was watching us. A feeling of terror hit me, and I said, "Go, go, go, go!" getting louder and more pandered with each word. My friend looked back up the hill for a second, and just as the figure took a step towards us, she slammed on the gas and peeled out, going in reverse down the hill. She rammed the gear shift into drive, and we were out. We didn't say anything for a while, until she said, "What the hell were they burning?" I shook my head. "I don't know." She dropped me off at home, and I went to bed. The next morning I woke up and went out to the kitchen. My mom was there, drinking her morning coffee, and I joined her. We talked about her job for a bit when she suddenly comes out with, "Did you hear what happened last night?" I shrug and say no. I had just gotten up. She tells me that a woman she worked with was kidnapped from the parking garage. "Oh my God," I say. "Did they find her?" "Yes, but too late," she replies. "Whoever took her had raped her and murdered her. They found her this morning up in the cemetery. He had tried to dispose of her body in a bonfire." I froze. My brain was going a mile a minute, the realization slowly creeping up. That's what the smell was. Needless to say, I never hung out at the cemetery at night again. I think back to our decision to leave instead of investigating the fire. The one decision that could have changed everything. Dark silhouette in the bonfire. What's not me? This happened when I was 17. I'm 22 now. I was working at a local grocery store as a bagger and cart pusher. One afternoon I was outside in the parking lot minding my business and gathering the carts. I noticed a purple Detroit cab next to the cart corral. Two gentlemen pop out as I'm doing my job and ask me if I know of any parties around my city. I'm young and naive and answer, "No, I don't party." I grew up in a wealthy suburban area of Michigan, so it was odd to see two scraggly men in a Detroit cab in the metro area. I continue on with my cart pushing, and as I pushed past them, he asked if I liked old men with lots of money, and that I looked 25 and that I could be in Playboy. So I politely said no, and booked my ass inside, where I immediately bumped into my manager, who I spilled the beans to. We called the cops, and long story short, they both had warrants out for their arrest for huge felonies and were the owners of the largest prostitute ring in Detroit. When the police searched the cab, they found cuffs and a few $100,000 worth of heroin and meth. The only thing I got out of it was a certificate from the police department that for the most part said, "Thanks for being a good citizen, sorry you got creeped on." We found out they were trying to pimp me. I continued working there, and this wasn't the last of the creepy encounters I had while employed there. When I was 7 years old, my parents divorced. We moved in with my maternal grandmother for a while, and then moved back to my hometown, ironically in an apartment complex right across the street from where my dad lived. I have a lot of good memories from living in that complex, but one memory is of something I wish I could forget. Not long after we moved in, we met a young kid named Jay. He seemed like a nice enough kid, and I didn't really make friends easily. I was happy to know someone in the neighborhood. We hung out often, and pretty soon Jay, myself, and my little brother became good friends. As it turned out, Jay lived next door to us, which made things even better. We always met outside and rarely went over to Jay's house, which I found a little strange. So one day I asked Jay why he insisted on always meeting us outside, and he simply said, "Mom." I don't remember what I said after that, but I do remember getting the chills from the way he said it. One day while my brother, myself, and Jay were playing in the playground, I saw a woman walk out of the yard in the apartment next to ours and start walking toward us. "Jay," she said, "time to come in." "But Mom, we're playing." "I don't care what you're doing. It's time to come inside." Just one look at this woman made me understand why Jay didn't want me to come into his house. It didn't take me long to realize there was something very wrong with her. Without another word, Jay got up and ran to his mom, who put her arm around his shoulder and then turned back to look at my brother and I. I'll never forget the look she gave us as she walked her son back into their apartment. I didn't hear from Jay for a long time after that. I would occasionally see him on the playground, but he would never look twice at me or say more than hello. I was really sad about it, but more than anything I was angry and confused. I knew I hadn't done anything, but I knew that Jay's mother hated my brother and I. And then one day, while my brother and I were walking home from school, I saw Jay's mother's car driving toward us. I wasn't frightened until the car slowed down as it reached us, and the driver's window rolled down. Jay's mother had the same look on her face as she had that day on the playground. "Your mother thinks she can harass me? You tell her I'll get her locked up next time she says something to me." And with that, she drove off. My brother and I ran inside and told our mother what Jay's mother had said. We knew that my mom had not spoken to Jay's mom in a long time, if ever. So none of us knew what she meant. My brother and I were scared to the point of tears, but my mom assured us that she couldn't do anything to us. Not long after, I began seeing her car more often. Never moving, but always parked close by. It got to the point where I would always check to see if she was outside before I could go outside. I was on the playground the last time I saw her. I was sitting on the monkey bars when I heard the gate open and saw her walk out of it towards me, that horrible look still on her face. "If your mother says one word to me again, I'm going to get you kicked out and arrested." This time I got brave. "My mom hasn't said a word to you. What's wrong with you?" "You're going to see what happens." And then she walked away back into her apartment. I didn't sleep that night. Not long after that, Jay and his mother moved out of the apartment complex. I was relieved, but it took a good year for me to stop looking over my shoulder. I remember constantly feeling like I was going to see her or her car, and that she was going to get me. Jay and I ended up going to the same high school. One day he came up to me and said hi. I said hi back, and we eventually got on the subject of his mother. Jay told me that his mother suffered from a form of paranoid schizophrenia and had made threats towards many people in the complex. He also told me that she kept a log of whenever her neighbors left home and came back. Jay's mom. Let's never meet again.